Hey babes, welcome to the podcast.
It's Emily
And Abigail.
and on today's episode we are starting our brand new series,
March
March
Madness.
Madness. This is episode 1, y'all. We are so stinking excited. But before we get started, our weekly recap.
To say the madness has already began is an understatement. Both Emily and I are, I'm recovering from a little bit of a sickness.
I have just begun the
What I
sickness
had.
that Abigail so kindly decided to share
You're
with
so
me.
welcome.
Please hear the
The true
sarcasm
friends are
dripping from my voice, or the mucus, either one. Hey babes, it's Emily.
And Abigail.
And do you want to be on the Babe podcast?
Because we now have an opportunity for you to join us.
March Madness, baby. It is going to be so stinking cool. We're going to have some of you guys on the podcast with us.
Sharing your story, asking you questions, and y'all even getting to ask us some questions.
Special privilege while you have it.
Right. So if you are interested, go to our Instagram at Babe Podcast. Check out our link tree. We'll have a link for you to go ahead and fill out an application on there. Or you can direct message us, email us, whatever. We will send that link right over to you. You'll fill out the application, which will include
your name, age, school, and 2 questions you have for us. We really want you guys to be involved in this whole March Madness series. We're going to be having a lot of special guests, but also we know you guys are special, so we want you guys on there too. So make sure you apply. Again, spots are limited and they are going fast, so make sure you apply. March Madness is really just a month that we want to give a platform to all backgrounds, ethnicities, careers, etc., like to just share what they're passionate about and give a little bit, I guess, of their origin story and how they got to where they are now, giving everyone just a platform. We're going to get all different sorts of people on here.
We're get ready for some surprises.
Yeah, we got a crazy good lineup.
We're so
Crazy
stoked.
good
It's going to be
lineup.
amazing. But to start off with March Madness, we're going to share a little bit of our own stories so y'all can get to know us a little bit better, because we've kind of just gone to our series and talked more about what we had going on there, but a little bit about ourselves, so you can really just have an understanding of where we came from and everything.
Relate to us personally, guys.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I grew up with my mom, my dad, and my 2 brothers. And when I was in middle school, my dad kind of fell out of the picture. That was definitely a very challenging time in my life. It's still something that I had to deal with up until today. And we'll go into more detail about that in one of our later series when we talk about stories and where we came, how we got through trauma and healed and everything. But long story short, he wasn't there. And because of that, I had a lot of negativity in my mindset for a while. And through that, I tended to put so much pressure on myself to reach this bar. And I tended to expect the best of myself and always go for full force ahead, because I was in this cycle of thinking I had to be validated in one way or another. Through that, I had to kind of learn how to navigate growing up in a younger way, if that makes sense. I had to really push myself to get to the place I want to be. And thankfully, I came to know Jesus, and I really just felt this fulfillment in my life that I had never felt before. And it pushed me into who I am today, because now I feel that I don't have to rely on myself, and I can really trust in the process and the cultivating of who I am and just who I am becoming. And so now my visions and my dreams and my aspirations are bigger than they've ever been before, because I fully believe that if you set your mind to something, you can make it happen with consistency and determination. And when I was in high school, I went to this school where they offered you can get your associate's degree there. So I went ahead and did it. I was involved in sports teams. I was involved in clubs. I did pretty much anything you could think of. I really was just a busy bee. I worked all the time. I made sure I had really good grades. I was the definition of a goody-goody. But I mean, I was okay with that. It was who I am, and I wasn't going to change for anyone. And then I graduated high school with my associates. So naturally, my work ethic and my determination has always been very strong because I've always had a lot on my plate to handle. And it made who I am today because now I'm at the season of my life where I have to start making decisions that are going to influence my future. In high school, it's very easy to be like, it's okay. I don't have to worry. It's okay. I'm not there yet. I'm not in college yet. And honestly, even if you're in college, it's okay if you're not positive on what you're going to do. You're still young. It's really okay. And you do not have to have the pressure of the world and society around you weighing on you. As long as you have something going for yourself, as long as you have some type of step in the process to get where you possibly may want to be, you're doing okay. Because I came to college expecting to become a speech pathologist and follow this degree in the medical field and go full speed ahead. But that completely changed. I now am doing advertising and marketing and digital media. And I'm realizing how much I truly enjoy business and networking and just branching out to so many different collaborations and just being with people all over and cultivating this positivity mindset to society around us to encourage the upcoming generation in reaching the dreams and aspirations that they have. I very much am completely set on where I want to go. I want to be able to just be a light in this world, to be able to travel and speak and just be a different voice, something that people aren't used to hearing, something that people want to hear because they're trying to get to that next step in their life. And through my experiences and my encounters, I want to encourage people just as others have encouraged me. And I think in where we live, the society we live in, anyone can bring together the brand that they want to bring for themselves. So with that, in I guess October, I think, or November, I November, I started my not my podcast, my blog. In my blog, I post different writings on just things that come to my mind, what is heavy on my heart that week, what I really feel needs to be spoken about. And I really put out this positive light. Like I've said that a lot, but that's really what I'm trying to get across, you know? And just trying to get it out there to people so they have access to help if they want it. If people want to reach out to me for encouragement, like I'm there, you know. I want to be able to help them through seasons in life where they're struggling, and honestly, community and relationships are what form a lot in our life. So I fully believe it's important to be that person that people can come to, but also remember you're getting poured into yourself. I've learned that, and thankfully from the people that I surround myself with, I have been able to be poured into. So as I pour out, I'm also getting poured into, and I'm also being fed, you know. And so I think with the blog, it really sparked my interest in social media. And with that, I started thinking, oh, a podcast would be really fun. But I had no idea how, I had no idea when, I had no idea if I could do it on my own, because the blog in itself, I was like, okay, I can't add way too much to my plate because on top, I have school. Like I'm still fully enrolled in college. I also have basketball, like I do a club team at the school, and I have all these different things on my plate. I serve at the church and everything. Like I don't know realistically if I can handle all of that. But everything came to work out perfectly because after I had started my blog, Emily and we talked about this a little bit in our first episode in the preview. um we sat down and we just started talking about our aspirations and influencing the upcoming generation and just really being a different light, being a different source of information, because I think so much negativity is talked about, trauma is talked about, do you is talked about, all these things, but how can we benefit others and how can we share our experiences to really just throw out this new idea of we can actually make a change in the world that we live in, you know? And Emily and I sat down and I was telling her about the blog and like my aspirations to just speak on all this positivity. She's like, I totally want to do something along those lines, but like I'm thinking like podcast. And I was like, whoa, actually that makes sense. Like I like that, like, you know. And through the podcast, it's just been this amazing journey where I've got to learn more about myself through the process, and I've got to learn more about, okay, it does take consistency to make your dreams come true. The podcast is a dream that was set into motion in November, and we're still here in March pushing through. And it has not been easy, but it has been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done because of the amount of positive feedback we have gotten back. The other day, I was talking to two of my friends, and when they were talking about the podcast with me, they were like, Abigail, you have no idea how bad I needed to hear that episode. And I was just astonished. And the fact that Emily and I can be a positive light to people and speak encouragement and speak truth and speak into other people's lives, the fact that y'all even allow us to do that, it's just such an amazing experience. And it makes me so overjoyed that it's not only changing our lives through the process, because this has been a journey for ourselves. Like we've had to take some of our own advice. You know, the amount of episodes I listen back to, I'm like, dang, I need to listen to what I just said, you know? But also y'all are taking that advice and y'all are growing from it to make a generation that is really just a whole different level of reaching those dreams and aspirations and getting to the point they want to be at. So that's kind of a little bit about me, a little bit about the brand, a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so yeah, no, her story is just absolutely amazing. I can't wait for her to share more. Guys, we're just gonna go with the froggy voice that we got going on, and we're just gonna roll with it. I might seem a little airheaded, and that's okay. We're gonna go with it. But for me, I grew up in a single family home. It's always been me and my mom. My mom is not only my best friend, but also my biggest role model. I love her to death. She is, everyone calls us twins, which I get, but like at the same time, like I don't get, but like I totally get. Once you see pictures of us,
Yes, but no.
like
Yes, but no.
For me, growing up in a single family home, I think that really shaped a lot. Just the way I approach things. It kind of made me more independent, and not in a bad way. I never felt lacking because I didn't have a dad. If anything, I felt a little bit empowered. I had my grandfather, who I call my papa, and he was just the most amazing role model and father figure I could have growing up. I was so blessed to have him in my life. Unfortunately, he passed away, but I was just so blessed to have so many amazing men that were in my life to influence me that I really didn't notice, I guess you could say, like a lack of not having a dad. So like that never really was an issue for me, probably until I was like 16. I was like, dang, hold on now. Who's gonna threaten my boyfriends? Like who's gonna be cleaning the gun on the front porch? Like what is gonna happen? Oh, that too. Like, who's gonna walk me down the aisle? That's for a way later though in life. That is for way later. But I feel like for me, I was also homeschooled because we traveled with my grandparents. Traveled around, so I've pretty much been to all 50 states. It was amazing. I got to do all these sports. I was involved in everything. I was like that tomboy kid that totally wore the pink tutus, the pink cowboy boots, and had her pink plastic pistols, and decided Annie Oakley was her most like favorite movie in the whole world. Like I can quote the movie, y'all. It's so funny. But that was just kind of like my childhood in a nutshell. I was very well-rounded, I guess you could say. I was taught from a young age never to put myself or anyone else in a specific box with a label or anything. So I was never told, like, if you like outdoor stuff, you're an outdoors girl. Or if you like pageants, if you like dressing pretty, if you like dress up and all of that, like you're the pretty girl or whatever. Like that was totally not the way I was raised at all. It was very much you can have your foot kind of in all the ponds that you want, as long as you stay true to yourself and as long as you understand that you have the authority to define the way other people look at you. Like your attitude kind of influences the way other people look at you. And I think with that too was sports was such a big thing for me. I started soccer when I was 5, and I mean, like, seriously, my goal was I'm going to go to Berkeley. I'm going to be the next Alex Morgan. I mean, I am going to go play for USA. Like, that was my total entire world was soccer. And with that obviously comes good grades. So I was an A+ student, all A's. I was like, I'm gonna dual enroll, I'm gonna do all these things. It was on the fast track to success. And unfortunately, had a sports injury. I had a severe concussion, and that really put my whole life, I feel like, at the age I was at, on hold. It really took me down on just a whole nother level. Basically what ended up happening is I was during a game. I went up for a header. Me and this girl, we hit heads as you do, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. We both fall. She just decided to be a little bit of a twerp and decided to kick me in the head just after everything. And I had a dislocated shoulder. So they basically gave me medicine, self-induced concussion. I won't get super into it. A bunch of medical terms. But basically, I have memory loss all the way from like 12 and down. Thankfully though, and by the grace of God, my memory has been coming back and continues to come back. Thank you, Jesus. It is amazing that it's coming back. Completely a blessing. But with that, my high school years, I had to go from being homeschooled and / private schooled. It's more like a 2-day a school type thing. I had to go to public school, and I was super excited because I was like, I get to ride a school bus. Oh my gosh, I'm like a junior in high school and I get to ride a school bus for the first time. I'm so excited.
I'm yet to ride one. My school never had a school bus.
No, okay, I rode it twice. I hated it. It was horrible. School buses suck. I lived my little high school musical dream of riding the school bus and realized it was like, oh my gosh, okay. Did you ever watch Legally Blondes?
Yes.
Like the twins, right?
Yes.
Okay, you remember the ending scene where the mean girl and the mean boy, they get sent to public school because they were kicked out of the private school, and they get sent on the bus and everyone's shooting silly string and they're like crying?
Uh-huh.
That is how I felt. I felt like that moment I was living. It was horrible. So I rode the bus twice. And after that, I was like, absolutely not. I'm driving to school. So from there on out, but with the concussion and with switching schools, mid junior year, actually, I was transferred to my public high school in the middle of February, actually. And it was such a difference for me because here I am. I just went through all this recovery, trying to recover some of my memories, relearning basics on math. Like, I mean, I couldn't remember what like 2 times 2 was. And it was so detrimental to me because I was like, I went from school was interesting. It was easy. I enjoyed it too. I cannot remember something so basic and simple, and I would beat myself up about it all the time, which in turn changed my goals because I wanted to go to Berkeley. I wanted to be this soccer player, but I also wanted to do physical therapy. And you have to be really, really, really smart to get a doctorate and to go through physical therapy.
And here we are.
Listen, I was like, dang, like I feel so stupid, like wow. And I had to go through a huge just redevelopment of understanding like I have the authority to define myself in the way other people's like look at me and everything, because my mental confidence went down so low. It was so bad, and I really had to learn within my senior year of high school how to be myself no matter what. And it's okay if everything doesn't come easy. It's okay. That work ethic really, really was instilled in me. And it was so important, I think, that time period for me, because I had to, again, relearn how I choose to define myself. And yes, sometimes the school thing isn't as easy for me, but okay, let me reevaluate my goals and everything. And with that, I decided actually to take a gap year after high school, which actually is really frowned upon by a lot of people. And let me tell you, it was the best freaking decision I could have made. I was like, wow, this is so needed. I really learned a lot of lessons on, okay, my mental attitude influences everything. So let me get back on like this right mental track to where I can approach school in a way where I'm not feeling super upset about it. I don't feel so down. I don't feel so depressed, but also let me experience life a little bit. Let me figure out what I really want to do in life and kind of step away from putting myself in a box, because I started to. I really, really started to. I was like, wow, school isn't easy for me anymore. So I'm obviously stupid. So I'm going to limit myself on what I'm capable of doing. That is not true. Don't do that. Don't be like me. Learn from my lessons. Don't do that. Like, you get to choose how you define yourself and choose how to live. And I really want to say this is during that gap year, I feel like that's when for me the dream of having a podcast really started. Um that dream of being an influencer and having a brand, starting something new from the ground up, entrepreneurship. That was something that really was birthed. Now, did I know how to approach that? No, I had no idea. Which I was like, I don't know if I even want to do this alone. I don't know. It was insane. But during that time period, and sorry guys, I'm getting a little foggy brained right now, but during that time, was a lot of shaping. I got to try a lot of different things. I had a couple internships, just with a couple different businesses on doing like their graphics, or helping with like the student ministries, or helping with colleges and outreaches, helping put in leadership positions where I could be creative, creating programs, even helping with FCA, creating programs for women, outdoor sports, like really getting the opportunity to kind of dip my toes again into all the different pools that I could do as a career. And it was made very apparent to me that I love creative things. I really got to realize what my goals are and how I'm going to pursue my own brand, and, my different goals and things that, obviously I'm still working on. And I feel like, again, it kind of goes back to that mindset of like, all the hard work is done in the quiet.
So true.
Like you're not like not everybody knows about all the hard work that you're putting in and everything
What
like
you
that.
do in private determines how you perform in public.
Yeah, and I think with that too is, for me and my personal goals, podcast aside, everything that I'm doing really has become such a passion for me that it is something that I'm very selective with who knows about until the progress is done. Sometimes, you don't need to tell everybody like the plan before it's happened. Sometimes they just need to see the after effects of the success and everything like that. And I feel like just this whole journey for me throughout high school, recovering from my concussion, learning what my niche is, really figuring out my goals, my passions, my dreams, and realizing like, no, this is really what I want, and figuring out really the exact things that is, which obviously you guys will learn in the future. Big things are coming. Um but I have to say that the podcast was such a blessing, because I feel like all that time of preparation of putting my toes in all the different pools and preparing myself kind of for this. So when the time came when me and Abigail sat down and we were like, hey, we do want to actually have this podcast. I mean, it was created within a week, and just how many blessings came from that. It's so cool because, pardon me, it's so cool because with the amount of preparation that she put in by herself, right, on her side, and the amount of things that Abigail just decided to do like by herself, and the things that she went through to prepare herself, and then the things that happened to me, very different, very, very different. But the fact that we ended up at the same goal, and the fact that we're able, two different individuals being able to pursue the same dream through the podcast, and creating a platform where we can have other people share their dreams, is kind of, I know it's very cliche, but just a dream for us come true.
For sure.
And it's so incredibly cool because I get to see what Abigail's doing aside from the podcast. And she gets to see what's happening for me aside from the podcast, while we're doing the podcast together. And it's so stinking cool because, again, going back to, both of us with this podcast, we're both pursuing our dreams.
Right.
And Abigail, why don't we just tell them like what to look forward to and like all of that, and then I'll ask the big question at the end.
So with us both pursuing our dreams, the one thing that I'm in love with my life right now. I'm literally in love with my life because I'm making the dreams come true. And it's stepping out in faith, and it's stepping out and knowing like I can actually make this happen. And it brings this new sense of joy and this new sense of, wow, this is actually coming true. And I think there's always a negative connotation with growing up sometimes. Like, you got to get your crap together. You got to know what you're doing. You got to do all this. But taking it day by day and being consistent and reaching those dreams has been one of the most amazing pictures I've ever seen.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a process.
Growing up is a beautiful thing if you allow for the process to happen.
And the transformation.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And so, I mean, going forward, some things you can expect is just Emily and I are going to be consistent. We're putting our best foot forward. We have said this from the beginning. We want everything we do to be done with excellence, and we want everything we do to be done to the best of our ability, because it's not just for ourselves, but it's for you guys. It's for you guys to be encouraged. It's for you guys to be supported. It's for y'all to just have a safe space, a safe place where you can hear information and just our own personal experiences. And another thing to look forward to is we're going to have some of you guys coming on. We're going to hear some of your stories, and do not hesitate to reach out. We've had some people reach out through direct message and have questions about how can I get this started? How can I do that? Blah, 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 all this stuff. We love encouraging you guys. Everyone can start somewhere, and we're more than willing to give you any advice that we have. And going forward, like, I just keep saying this, but Emily and I's vision, I think, is bigger than we can comprehend. Our vision is very just anything can happen, and expecting the unexpected, but also being so consistent is going to lead to so many blessings through obedience. So I'm very excited to see what takes place.
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're both just excited where the podcast is going, and for you guys to really hear about everyone that's coming on this podcast. Again, like, we want this to be a platform for all backgrounds, ethnicities, careers, hobbies, to share just anything and everything that they want to, and having this be a safe place. It's super exciting.
So for the month of March, we do have one question that we're going to continue to ask everyone from here on out. So that is where we see ourselves in 5 years. So Emily, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Dang. Successful boss babe. That is just where I see myself.
I love it. I love it.
I think, again, behind the scenes, there's just so many things that are going on, just for everyone, just with this podcast and everything, but also just like individually. So I think for myself, seeing my, in 5 years, having, my own personal brand as well as the podcast, and really putting all my energy and passion into it is kind of the big dream. Obviously there's a lot of details in that I feel like not the time to release yet, but at the same time, I think with the podcast, just staying consistent. Like, I really think that this is just going to continue to be a platform, and I can't wait. I cannot wait in 5 years. I hope that this just grows to a place where anybody can kind of come and find encouragement in, but also find resources. I feel like the Babe podcast is going to really be a resource hub for so many people, again, of all those different areas, and kind of be like the center pool for everyone to dip their toes into everything else. So I'm super excited for that. And then also, 5 years, you never know. 5 years is a very short period of time,
but also long.
But also long. A lot can happen in a year, for heaven's sake.
A lot can happen in a month.
So, 5 years from now, who knows? Maybe I'll be Mrs. Whoever, or maybe I'll just still be bossing it by myself with I'm going to get a dog. I'm going to have another dog by that point. No, that is definitely where I see myself in 5 years. I'm going to be a dog mom of 2. Okay, no, seriously.
Okay. Got it.
I'm gonna have a black pit bull, and his name is gonna be Zeus. Anyways, Abigail, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh. In 5 years, it's the vision's similar to Emily's. I definitely see myself in advertising and marketing and doing a lot of networking, just being open to any opportunities that may arise. I really just want to encourage other people. I see myself going to different places and speaking. I definitely see that in my future for sure. I see just so much hopes and dreams and visions, and I'm so excited to see it all come true, because I know that if you stay consistent and your faith remains, it's going to happen. And I'm just so excited to see what's going to take place, and like plot twists might happen around the way. Plot twists take place all the time. But I'm excited. It'll be like my own brand as well, building my blog, building my own social media, building my own things, but also building the podcast out of that as well. It's just been an amazing experience already, and we're in 2 months. We've been doing this for 2 months. I cannot imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years. I can't even fathom.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be amazing. And on top of that, I definitely see myself as a dog mom, just like Emily. Probably a mini golden doodle. That's my dream. And the name would be Teddy.
She's also not allergic to those.
I'm also not allergic. Yeah. You're going to have to stop me from getting a dog when I move into a house. You have to stop me.
I might be encouraging you. I'm not going to lie. I will do my best, but I may fail.
Anyway, so Mom, you didn't hear that.
Maturing is acknowledging our failures.
Fair. Okay,
so I might encourage you to get a dog.
So yeah, I definitely see something like that. Like we said, a lot can happen in 5 years. Do I want marriage in the future? Yes. Do I know when that's going to happen? Absolutely not. Because, well, I'm 18 and have no idea what's about to take place in my life, because the amount that's changed in the past year has been insane. The fact that I look myself a year ago I was living at home in high school. What?
In a small town.
In a small town where the only restaurants to eat from are McDonald's and Arby's. Yeah, and Wawa. But
Wawa.
And now, like, living here and living just in a new place and in a new environment, and honestly growing up, living on my own, having to be responsible for myself and having to be like completely reliant on what I'm doing and where I want to go. It's been one of the most challenging things, but it's been so amazing. So to say I'm excited to see what takes place is an understatement, because the one thing that I keep saying this year is life keeps on getting better and the amount of gratitude keeps expanding.
It's going to be awesome. Well, babes, the first episode of March Madness. We are super pumped for y'all to hear from next week. We got some super cool guests. So stay tuned.
We're so pumped.
It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be a surprise. So you guys stay tuned, because we have 2 guests. And I'm huge fans of them personally. So is Abigail.
I'm obsessed.
And they are super cool individuals that we had the pleasure of meeting randomly.
Look at God.
So randomly. And so yeah, stay tuned.
It's gonna be amazing.
You guys are gonna have a special treat next week. We can't wait to see you. So yeah,
stay
without
tuned.
further ado,
Bye,
babes.